This is JD at Busines Systems Mastery in London, and today we have a very special guest with us. She's called Rachael Taplin, and she is a PR and marketing expert, and we are very excited to have her here with us today. Hi Rachael.
Hello.
How are you today?
Excellent, thank you.
How was your journey down?
It was brilliant. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, so we just have a couple of questions for you. So how did you get into sort of the PR and marketing side of things?
Through trial and error. I've worked for myself for 20 odd years now, and I had a very successful magazine called Mums in Control. And I know how to do the sales, I know how to do all the marketing side, but I had no idea how to do PR. And it's something that I thought, okay, what do I do now? What do I do? So I thought, well, I'll employ a PR agency. And it was in the time, I think it was 2007, when we used to make lots of money and we had budgets and things. People don't remember those days. And so I employed a PR agency, but it was very mystical and magical, and they kind of didn't tell you what they did. It was all about the contacts. And they did come good. I hired them for 6 months and I got on Daybreak, which is now called something else, used to be GMTV. And I had an article in the Daily Mail, Essentials magazine. I kind of got the bug for it. And then if you remember in 2008, 2009, the economy nosedived.
Yes.
And I had no budget and no money, so I had to learn how to do it myself. So as a business owner with tight cash flow, going through a divorce, challenged like you wouldn't believe, I just had to learn how to do my own PR. So I went to a seminar, I saw the most amazing speaker from America, signed up to his program, because in business we're always learning, signed up to his program and taught myself how to do my own PR. And since then I've done hundreds of radio interviews, been in most of the glossy magazines and national women's magazines, and been on TV, so I've got the bug.
That sounds absolutely brilliant. So where do you find your inspiration from? I mean, being a businesswoman, and you just mentioned there that you got a divorce. So how do you, what inspires you to sort of wake up in the morning and do all of this?
I think, isn't it funny, as you get older, because I am getting older now, you realise what's important, and it's just your family. My daughter is my inspiration. As a single mum, I want to be there for and work flexibly. I'm what's called a mumpreneur. So she's my inspiration in truth. But I think, like anyone that goes into business, you have a passion and a desire to help somebody. And I think as you get older, it's not about the money, it's about the results and how you inspire and help other people as well. And I'm absolutely so blessed now that I've been able to take my own life experiences, been around the block a little bit, highs and lows, and share it with people. And that's what I love. And I can work flexibly around my daughter. I can come away at weekends when she's with her dad, and it all fits really well.
So you mentioned that you got a divorce from your husband and then you became a single mum. That must have been a very difficult time in your life. So how did you overcome that, and sort of what challenges were there for you to sort of overstep that and to sort of step up to the plate and to be, sort of both mum and dad to your daughter?
It's a really difficult one. You just, as a mum, you just have to do it. It's not an option. But I think mindset has been the most important thing to me. I've sadly gone through depression twice, and it's something I openly talk about because most people don't. And often when you're a really, yay, happy, bubbly person, people think, oh my God, how could that person go through that? So I went through postnatal depression, and that's when I knew I needed to work flexibly around Annabelle, because I was just trying to do too much. And then I had depression for the second time when I was going through my divorce. But the second time, I learned that, only I control me. Only I can control my thought processes. The buck stops with me. So I tell you, the God's honest truth, I discovered The Secret, the book by Rhonda Byrne, and it was just life-changing for me. And it was on my start of my journey when I was loving all this kind of self-development and the universe and all that. And now, as I get a little bit low sometimes, and we all get low, when we're having bad days, I put The Secret on, and it just changes my mindset and gratitude. You know what? Life is good. We should be grateful. So that's my biggest way that I get through every day, through the lows and the highs.
So you talked a little bit about how you suffered from depression. So how did you overcome that, and sort of what advice would you give to sort of other mums who are sort of maybe in the same situation, who are looking for just that little bit of inspiration, a little bit of motivation to get out of bed in the morning, to just get on with their lives and just overcome that?
It's a really tricky one, because the first thing people say, they want to help you, but they don't know how to help you, and you often pull yourself together, and getting out of bed is the one thing you can't do, and it's the one thing you do. You get constantly into bed because you just want to get rid of the days. The first time I didn't know what to do because I hid it, and I wasn't proud of myself for it, and it was, I don't know, you just feel vulnerable, you feel like you're letting everyone down, because when everyone else believes in you and you don't believe in yourself, that's a pretty hard place to be. So the first time I actually, I went to see a psychologist. I was desperate, I didn't want to go on tablets. Went to see a psychologist, and I remember the psychologist saying to me, after I was crying through every single session, she said to me, I can't help you anymore, you need to go to see the doctor and go on tablets. I'm like, oh my God. So I was so scared to go on tablets, but at that point it was a chemical imbalance and it's what I needed.
Yeah.
And I gave it 6 months and I slowly turned myself around and life became good again. Life was good anyway, but I just couldn't cope. So that was the first time, and I got stronger myself. The second time, it was just life. Sometimes, you know, life is challenging, you know, it is, but it's okay to say, I'm not having a good day, or you know what, I'm in a bit of a dark place at the moment, because when you're on such a high, you've got to have a low. It's about balance. So the second time, it was all about mindset. It was just about keeping positive and learning to be open about it. I don't hide it now, and because my magazine was called Mums in Control, I did a lot of interviews being open about it and talking about it. And the most inspirational person I ever interviewed was Trisha Goddard. She used to do the Trisha Show.
Oh, yeah.
I used to interview lots of celebrities, and she's had, you know, depression, and she's, you know, talks about this such a lot openly. You know what, we've just got to get it out there and talk about it.
So you say you've interviewed a lot of celebrities. Who was your absolute favourite celebrity to interview?
It was actually Trisha Goddard. And I've interviewed, you know, people like Lorraine Kelly, Colleen Nolan. I've interviewed Danny Minogue. I turned down Jordan. I didn't want to interview her. You know, yes, I turned her down. So I've interviewed loads of celebrities. Sarah Beanie's just amazing. I interviewed her. I've interviewed some fantastic celebrities, but Trisha was the most real, inspirational. Her book, if you ever read it, because she was real and she'd gone through tragedy, I can't say that, tragedy, and she's overcome it. And that's what life is about, isn't it? It's not what you deal with when you're at the lows, it's how you overcome it and get back on the highs.
So you talked about sort of your magazine, Mums in Control. So how did you sort of establish that? And if you were giving advice to sort of a mum who wanted to sort of go into business and start their own business, what advice would you give?
Follow your heart. You've got to be passionate about what you do, because if you're not passionate, how on earth are you going to get through the dark days? Because you have to be passionate and you have to totally believe in what you do. Obviously, you have to have a business that is sustainable, that has foundations and that does work. But if you've got passion, that will get you through anything. For me, the Mums in Control was, I've always worked in the media, so I knew how to sell advertising. I had my own advertising agency one stage, so I knew how to look after my clients. So I created my own local community magazine first and sold local advertising and made about £3,000 a month. I thought, God, this is really easy. I was doing it part-time, and I thought, well, maybe I can turn it into a business and franchise it. And I franchised it all around the country. And so each mum would sign up with us. It was a low entry franchise fee. They would print their own 5,000 copies. They would make about £2,500, £3,000 profit. And before we knew it, I think within about 18 months, we were larger than some of the glossy magazines. We were printing 250,000 copies per print run. So because of the print run was so huge, we could get all the celebrities and we got all the national advertisers. So in the peak, it was doing extremely well before the crash. And that's how it grew.
I mean, we all know that there was sort of a recession, and sort of, you know, things don't go as well as you usually plan it to. You know, things go wrong and things happen, the economy and all bits and pieces. So if you had one piece of advice to give to someone who was going through a struggling business or a business failure, what advice would you give?
You have to keep adapting. You know, one of the biggest sayings I love is fail, try and fail, but never fail. No, is it try and fail? Yeah, but never fail to try, because you have to try new things constantly. We don't always get it right. Some things don't work, but you have to keep going, because it's us, it's me, it's you, it's only us that's responsible for our own success. So just give it a go and take action. I think a lot of us are scared to take action, or we're scared to try something in case it fails. So what if it doesn't work? You know, pat yourself on the back for giving it a go. You're one step closer to making it work. So give it a go. Take action, I'd say.
So you started Blue Boo. Did you start that after Mums in Control?
Yeah, I was. You know, you try and take the good out of everything, don't you? Well, I try and do it now. And you know, I had to close Mums in Control. It just wasn't commercially viable, because the first thing to get cut was advertising budgets, and then my franchisees panicked and they didn't want to, you know, carry on selling advertising. Paper was going through the roof print-wise. I was going through my divorce and everything. Okay, God, I'm listening to you. Let's give it up. And I just love speaking, and I love listening to motivational speakers. And I thought, you know what? I'm 40 years old, I've got a chance now to do whatever I want to do in my life. I could do anything I wanted, really. Her dad, Annabelle's dad is with him half the time, so half the time I can be this businesswoman and do whatever I want. And I saw these speakers and thought, that's what I want to do, I want to be a speaker. And then everyone kept saying to me, how did you get onto radio? How did you get on TV? How did you get into the magazines? So I started sharing my story and I thought, oh my God, this works. And everyone was getting responses. So then I created Blueboo to help and train people to do their own PR. And the rest, they say, is history.
That is an amazing story. I mean, in terms of Mums in Control then, when you had to fold the business, how did you feel and how did you overcome those feelings? I mean, there must have been a lot of sort of disappointment because that was your baby that you kind of raised from nothing basically and grew it into a really successful business. So how did you feel about sort of having to close the doors on that one and starting a new chapter in your life?
It's like anything, it was really hard. It's only probably been the last 2 years that I feel a value again, that I can help people, because I felt like I'd failed and I was embarrassed. It was a business I had to close down. I didn't have to put it into liquidation or anything. I closed it down responsibly, didn't owe anybody any money, we all shook hands, walked away. So it kind of just petered out, but I had to earn money. But it was like, oh my God, am I good at what I do? It knocks you, life knocks you, but what do? You get back up. When you're a kid and you're learning to walk, every time you toddle and fall down, you don't stay down, you try and get back up again. And I think that's what I've had to do. You just have to get back up again. It wasn't an option for me. I did take a job for 6 months and hated every minute of it. And I had to build a business that I could carry on doing what I loved. So for me, I drew out the positives as you try and do, and it's not always easy. I had to believe in myself again, and thank gosh, it's paying off, and I love it. And I love it, JD, because I'm helping people genuinely. They're getting fantastic PR success, but my life is in balance. I only work part-time around my daughter. I'm happy. It's not about how much money I earn, it's how I help people, and that's what it's all about.
So in terms of sort of finding that balance between sort of work and, being a very successful woman and having it all, so basically, the family life and the work-life balance, having the time to sort of spend with your daughter and go on holidays and, do the things that she wants to do as well. How have you found that balance sort of in your work life? I mean, you're a very busy woman, but how have you been able to sort of balance out everything to sort of be able to, give your daughter what she needs as well as giving yourself what you need?
It's compromise. It's like you say have it all. I really don't have it all. I really don't. But I've made compromise of what's important to me. I used to go out and spend £200-300 on a dress and blink and not even. Now I'll go to Marks and Spencer's or BHS, and I don't care anymore. It's about life is about relationships, and it's about the fun bits along the way. And I've compromised in everything that I do. I don't have the big expensive holidays anymore. We might go and have a static caravan somewhere, or we'll just go to Spain. It's about compromise. I can be there at her school events. I can pick her up and take her to the orthodontist at the moment, which is the phase we're going through. That's, to me, is more important, that I've always been there for her. But it's not easy, like any mum that's, juggling. We work through the hours, we put them to bed and we carry on working. She's older now, she's 13. She doesn't actually need me that much. So I've gone through that phase, but I used to work around her and working evenings. So it's still difficult, but it's doable, and it's worth it.
Have you found it to be very difficult to sort of balance that, or have you found sort of the transition from becoming sort of a two-parenting family to sort of being a single parent quite easy, and sort of the flow of it sort of came to you very easy, or did you have any struggles when you were trying to sort of find that balance and then find that job and finding time to be able to spend with her as well?
I think I've been really blessed because financially I support Annabelle completely, but her dad is in her life half the time, as he should be, and so in that half the time I can work all the hours, I can come to London to do my meetings. So I've actually had it really lucky, but it's how we perceive life, isn't it? It's not always, and I've learned that with the depression thing. When someone comes up to you and say, oh, how's life today? And you go, yeah, it's great. And sometimes you think, no, it's terrible. You know what? We just have to accept that it's a bit of a juggle at the moment, or that's a bit tough, and I don't think I can do that. And you have to let a few people down. You get through it the best way you can. That's all you can do.
Thank you very much for your time, Rachael.
You're welcome. Thank you.